Hello friends, this is Dr. P.R. Chaudhary from Kekewa College of Agriculture. Today we will be studying about fertilization and parthenocarpy. Fertilization process occurs after the pollination. The process of fusion of the nucleus of the male cell, that is the pollen grains, with the nucleus of the female cell, that is the ovum, to form zygote is known as fertilization. We all know the different parts of flower. The female part includes stigma, style and ovaries. They are combined known as pistil, whereas the male part, that is the stamen, includes anthers which contain the pollen grains and the long filament. So at the time of pollination, what happens is pollen grains are transferred to the stigma, and when this happens, the pollination process is successful and then fertilization process begins. So once the pollen grain is transferred, the pollen grain germinates and form a pollen tube. Each pollen grain carries two male nuclei, and the pollen tube helps to carry the male nuclei to the ovules and ovum. Upon successful transference of pollen produced in the anther sac to the pistil, pollen germinate as pollen tube. The pollen tube further grows via stigma, style and ovary and enter the ovules at the micropylar end. So this is your micropylar end. The pollen tube will enter into the ovules through this end. And then there are two male nuclei. One male nuclei will fuse with the egg cell to develop the zygote, and that is the process of fertilization. Whereas the second male nuclei will fuse with the secondary nucleus or the polar nucleus and to form a primary endosperm nucleus. After fertilization of the ovules, seed will develop from the ovules and the ovary will start swelling and form into the fruits. So in fertilization, there is double fertilization, that is the true fertilization or syngamy, where the diploid zygote is formed, and the second fertilization occurs between the secondary nucleus and the second male gamete to form the primary endosperm nucleus. Now let us study about parthenocarpy. Parthenocarpy is derived from a Greek word parthenos, which means virgin, and karpos means fruit. So in parthenocarpy, it is a natural or artificially induced production of fruits without fertilization of ovules. So in the previous slides, we have seen how fertilization occurs. In parthenocarpy, the fruits are developed without this fertilization process. Therefore, the fruits will be now seedless. Since there are no ovules fertilized, no zygote form, there will be no seeds produced and the fruit will be seedless. There are three types of parthenocarpy. First is vegetative parthenocarpy, in which the pollination, the fruit develops without the stimulus of pollination. Meaning, even if there is no pollination, the fruit will develop on its own. Examples are in case of banana, pineapple, pear and papaya. Whereas second type is stimulative parthenocarpy. In this method, pollination has to occur but fertilization will not take place. Therefore, pollination process is occurring but the male nuclei will not fuse with the female ovum and fertilization and zygote will not form. Therefore, this is known as stimulative parthenocarpy, meaning the stimulus of pollination is required. In this type, there is another method that is ctenospermocarpy. In this method, the seeds will be formed, but when the seeds are very young, they get aborted. That means the seeds do not completely develop and they get aborted. There will be minor seeds in the fruits. And the third method is artificial parthenocarpy. This, as the name suggests, is induced artificially by spraying of plant hormones like gibberellic acids, auxins or cytokinin. And this is very useful for farmers because by spraying these growth regulators, then they can develop the seedless fruits. Now let us understand what is the importance of parthenocarpy. Seedlessness, as we know, is a desirable character, specifically in the edible fruits which have very hard seeds. So example, we have seedless pineapple, banana, and in orange also, if there are lot of seeds, it will be very desirable to have a seedless orange. It is also desirable in case of the fruit crops which are very difficult to pollinate or fertilize. Example is tomato and summer squash. So in natural condition it will be difficult to pollinate such crops. So parthenocarpy development will be desirable. Also in dioecious species where male and female flowers are born on two different trees. In such case parthenocarpy increases the fruit production and you don't have to plant staminate or male trees for pollination. Parthenocarpy cultivars are also a novelty. Example is your cherries, tomato, eggplant, strawberry or melons. We all have seen, I think, seedless watermelons. It is a novel character and people would prefer to eat seedless watermelon. It also helps to improve taste and reduces browning. Example is eggplant. Eggplant means your brinjal. We all know once you cut the brinjal, it starts turning brown. So if you induce parthenocarpy, it will not only improve the taste but it will also reduce this browning reaction. Also, since now you don't have to rely on pollination in case of parthenocarpic fruits, there will be no variation in the crop yield. You can have greater reliability of crop yield even under varying climatic conditions. And last, even in greenhouse, if you are taking these fruit crops, you don't require pollination, and so the cost incurred on pollination will be eliminated or reduced, and you will also increase the profitability in processing industry. Example, if you see here custard apple, seeded custard apple will take more effort in processing to remove the seeds, whereas the seedless custard apple will be easier to process. So these are few important traits or importance of parthenocarpy in horticultural crops. Thank you.